Australian Alan Jones converted the promise of the Williams FW07 into a world title with 5 wins in 1980. Nelson Piquet narrowly missed out on the World Championship for Brabham in 1980, but made amends the following season. Gilles Villeneuve scored an incredible victory with Ferrari's difficult first turbo car in the 1981 Spanish Grand Prix. The first 5 cars home were covered by just 1.24 seconds. Villeneuve at last had a car worthy of him in 1982, but he was to die in qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix, and teammate Didier Pironi himself suffered a career-ending accident in practice for the German race. Brazil's Nelson Piquet won the first championship in the turbo era for Brabham BMW by pipping Alain Prost's Renault at the final round. Alain Prost joined Niki Lauda at McLaren with a Porsche-built Tag engine in 1984. Lauda won 5 races to Prost's 7, but took the title by half a point. Prost made up for the disappointments of the previous 2 seasons with back-to-back world titles in 1985 and 1986. Englishman Nigel Mansell was the dominant driver of 1986, but a blown tyre at the final race in Adelaide halted him when he was just 18 laps away from the world title. Although Mansell was quicker, Williams teammate Nelson Piquet used better consistency to win his 3rd World Championship in 1987. (1988) was the first year of the explosive Senna-Prost combination at McLaren. The Brazilian came out on top, winning his first championship. The strained relationship between the 2 McLaren drivers developed into open warfare in 1989. Prost took his 3rd title when the pair collided in controversial circumstances at Suzuka. Prost moved to Ferrari for 1990, but once again the title was decided in a clash with Senna at Suzuka. The Brazilian, this time, was the benefactor. Nigel Mansell was a big hit in Italy when he joined Ferrari in 1989. He won his first race for the team in Brazil, and his win from 12th on the grid at Hungary later that year was rated by team manager Cesare Fiorio as one of the greatest ever by a Ferrari driver. Williams produced the best car of 1991, but by the time it had achieved reliability, they were too far behind to prevent Senna claiming his 3rd world crown. The actively suspended Williams FW14B was unstoppable in 1992, and Mansell set a new record for the number of victories in a season. He sealed the World Championship in Hungary. After failing to agree terms with Williams for 1993, Mansell announced that he would race in the American IndyCar Series. Brazilian Ayrton Senna, 3 times a world champion in 1988, 90 and 91. Age 32, he started 142 Grand Prix, winning 36. He's had 61 pole positions and 18 fastest laps. He scored 541 points. New Zealand racing driver Bruce McLaren set up his own team in 1966, but was killed testing a McLaren Can-Am car at Goodwood in 1970. Brazil's Emerson Fittipaldi took his second World Championship title in 1974 in a McLaren M23. McLaren continued its mid-70s run of success, winning the World Championship with James Hunt in '76. McLaren was undeniably the team of the '80s, winning drivers' titles with Niki Lauda, 3 times with Alain Prost, and with Ayrton Senna. Senna added another 2 titles in 1990 and 91, and the team has now scored more points than any other in the history of the World Championship. Former Grand Prix mechanic Ron Dennis took control of the team in 1981, setting McLaren International on course for more than a decade of success. Founded by Enzo Ferrari, who died in August 1988, Ferrari is the most evocative name in Grand Prix racing. Phil Hill became the first American world champion in 1961 after teammate Wolfgang von Trips was killed at Monza. Niki Lauda won world championships for Ferrari in 1975 and 1977. He returned to the team in 1992 as a management advisor. Alberto Ascari, Juan Manuel Fangio, Mike Hawthorne, Phil Hill, John Surtees, Niki Lauda and Jody Scheckter have all won world championships in Ferraris. The ultimate boss is Luca di Montezemolo, the man who masterminded Lauda's title in 1975 and organised the Italia 90 Football World Cup. With Jean Alesi and Gerhard Berger driving in 1993, Ferrari is looking for its first world champion since Scheckter 13 years ago.
The cockpit of a modern Grand Prix car is high-tech. The steering wheel's fitted with flippers which allow the driver to go up and down the gearbox at the flick of a lever. The McLaren has buttons which allow non-sequential down changes. If, for example, a driver wants to change straight from 6th to 1st gear for a tight chicane at the end of a straight, this can be programmed into a computer so that all he's got to do is flick a button. Prominent in the cockpit are also digital readouts for engine revs, coolant temperature, fuel levels, etc. Grand Prix cockpits are so tight that a driver's steering wheel has to be removed so that the driver can get in and out. It's a safety condition that a driver has to be able to vacate a cockpit within 5 seconds. Major engine manufacturers spend huge sums on Formula One engine development. The major players of the last couple of seasons have been Honda and Renault. The Japanese company powered Williams and McLaren to 6 successive Constructors' Championships between 1986 and 1991. They managed this with a turbocharged 1.5-litre engine, followed by a V10, then a V12. Renault hit back with its V10 in the Williams chassis in 1992, the fruit of 3 seasons' hard work since the French company returned to Formula One in 1989. Formula One designers are constantly searching out lighter materials for such things as wheels to get cars down to the 505 kilograms weight limit. The sport's governing bodies banned the use of carbon fibre wheels on safety grounds. Most Formula One wheels are made by the OZ company. Tyre warmers are fitted to cars so that the rubber comes up to temperature more quickly and allows a driver to optimise the tyre's grip. In qualifying, a Formula One garage can be seen stocked with tyres in their electric blankets. Drivers are allowed 2 sets of tyres per qualifying session. Aerodynamics are crucial to the overall performance of a Grand Prix car. The recent trend for raised noses is to maximise the airflow under the car and through to the specially sculpted Coke bottle rear end. The nose cones themselves may have exaggerated winglets, which are the result of many hours spent on wind tunnel work. Each team has its own interpretation, but the principles are the same. Formula One cars also have a carbon fibre undertray, and air is channelled via a rear diffuser. Modern-day Formula One cars are built in carbon fibre and can withstand incredible impacts. Ferrari experimented with a double floor on its F92A chassis in the interest of aerodynamics, but that wasn't a success. A large team of support personnel is behind getting every chassis onto the grid. A top Grand Prix team might take as many as 40 team personnel to a Grand Prix to look after its 2 race chassis and a spare car. One of the most impressive features of a modern Grand Prix car is its brakes. The use of carbon fibre brake discs is the reason for this, and although drivers much prefer them over their steel predecessors, a reduction in braking distances has cut down on overtaking opportunities. In order to follow the trend for raised noses, the chassis are stepped and have air splitters. The driver consequently sits with his feet higher than his backside. Huge transporters carry a mass of technical support equipment around the world. Computer telemetry equipment is unloaded into pit garages and used by engine men and team engineers. Engine performance can be monitored closely, and often the team will know before its driver if an engine's about to fail. A driver can no longer hide anymore. His every move can be analysed on a computer printout within seconds of him arriving back in the pits. The 2.06-mile track winds its way through the streets of the Principality of Monaco. In 1992, Ayrton Senna equalled Graham Hill's record 5 Monaco Grand Prix wins, while Nigel Mansell holds the lap record at a speed of 91.23 miles an hour. The 2.69-mile Autodromo José Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo is home to the Brazilian Grand Prix. Riccardo Patrese currently holds the lap record here at a speed of 121.710 miles an hour. Which of the above drivers is not a triple Grand Prix World Champion? Which of the above is the most experienced Grand Prix driver? Which of the above teams has scored the most points in Formula One?